Now I wanted to talk to you about a famous story that for me is almost too good to be true. So I wanted to ask you and get the facts about how you got your record deal. Now the story goes that you went to a party, met Tommy Mottola, who was like a big exec at Columbia at the time, gave him your demo. He went off, listened to it in the car, liked it so much he came back to the party. You weren't there, and then he had to track you down like a sort of a Cinderella, sort of going seeing if the tape fitted your foot or whatever. That doesn't quite work. Is that what happened?
That's a version of what happened.
Give me your version.
Well, it's not that different, except I was a backup singer at that time. As I told you, I was singing for Brenda K. Starr. She brought me to this party to meet a guy named Jerry Greenberg, who she used to work with when she at another label. And so I went to the party, you know, looking as good as I could with the clothing that I had, because I
what were you rocking?
Had very little. Well, it's like this. We have these kind of jackets. They look like school jackets. That's like what I had on.
Okay.
And like this black dress, the only dress except this pink thing that wouldn't have worked, that I could find, and tights, and I couldn't wear Brenda's shoes because her feet were too small, so I had to wear like
sneakers.
Well, they were kind of like sneakers, but they were really, really ugly, and then like this big socks. It wasn't pretty, but she said, "Did you notice that guy staring at you? And his name is blah blah blah." You said it before, and then he came up and said, "Who's your friend?" or something like that, and she had my tape in her hand. She handed him the tape. She said, "This is my friend. She's 18. She writes her own songs. She's da-da-da-da-da."
She's smoking.
And so then we went upstairs to the ladies' room, and she was like, "Oh, do you know who that was? I can't believe it. I can't believe it." And then the rest of the story is pretty much true. He tracked me down through Brenda's management.
How did it feel when you eventually did sign that record deal after, you know, being a backing singer for a while, for a few years or whatever? You must have been kind of overwhelmed. You know, suddenly you're recording a single, you're making a video.
I was totally ecstatic. Everything was amazing. All I said that I really needed was the ability to not have to use other writers' songs. I wanted to make sure they didn't try to control me in that way. Who knew the control that would happen later?
Sure.
But you know,
you have often said that you weren't so pleased with the first album because you felt that you were slightly forced to make it too commercial. Do you still, when you listen to the album, if you do listen to the album now, do you still feel that way?
I like a couple songs. I like Vision of Love.
Your first number one?
My first number one, R&B and pop. And to me, that set the tone for my career, but the label wanted to go more pop and, you know, whatever. But, and there was another song, Sent From Up Above, that I liked a lot. And Vanishing, which is a fan favorite. So
the Lambs like that?
The Lambs like it, yeah.
After Vision of Love went to number one, your next 4 singles went to number one. Did you kind of get blasé? Do you still get excited when you get number ones? You do?
Yes.
Honestly?
Honestly.
Good.
Didn't I just tell you about, or maybe I didn't tell you about Obsessed? It went platinum, and that's like my 12th platinum single, and it, no offense, we love everybody, and everybody does great, but it just beat all the females who have platinum singles.
So, in their faces?
So, no, so cheers to them.
But
and
also in their faces.
Well, but I'm just happy because it's that song, and it, you know, on platinum and whatever.
Off the back of that first album, you became a huge star. Was that weird, the kind of the stardom aspect to it, the loss of privacy and so on?
I didn't feel like a star. I didn't feel stardom at all. I was actually sequestered at that point and surrounded by people who worked for people that ran Sony. And so I couldn't really go anywhere, do anything. You know, it became a thing where I didn't really feel famous. The only time I would feel like somewhat famous was when I would watch a video of mine. Like it would be come on TV or whatever, and I would see Dream Lover, you know, even though to that point.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was part of it as well because you didn't really perform live that much at the start because by all accounts you had stage fright.
No, that's what they said.
Oh, really?
I don't think they wanted me to leave home that much.
So would you have liked to have been out there performing?
Well, I think it would have been good for me now because, you know, if I had started then, I would have been even more comfortable on stage. But it's cool because I'm just, at this point, I just talk to the audience like they're my best friends. And you know, some of them kind of are in a way. So, you know.
Well, they're there the whole time.
I just joke around and have a good time.
You achieved what for me is like the almost impossible by releasing an actually brilliant Christmas song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. Why do you think that song succeeded where, you know, so many Christmas songs are just rubbish? They really are.
Yeah.
There's like You and the Pogues. maybe George Michael.
I like George Michael's song.
I will sometimes sing.
Last Christmas, yeah. I have to give credit where credit is due. Tommy did say you should do a Christmas album now, and I was like, isn't that for down the road? And then I committed to doing it, so I said, let me do something that I feel will be classic, not like a modern beat, you know what I mean? I tried to make it more kind of like 60s-ish.
That's exactly the thing about the song is you kind of, it's hard to believe that you wrote it then. It feels like it should have been around forever.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted.
Did you get people not believing that you wrote it? Because I don't think I presumed it was like a cover, I think, the first time I heard it.
All they gotta do is look it up, baby.
Then there it is. MC. MC hitting it up. The video I also like. Is that what kind of Mariah Carey Christmas is like? Just rolling about in some snow?
Basically, but then you got to jump in a hot tub afterwards.
Of course you have. You love a hot tub.
I love a hot tub.
Do you have a higher spec camera these days, or are you still using the Super 8?
Oh, well, that was for the let's make it look kind of 60s. Yeah.
And it worked. It did. Oh, I've got a good fact about All I Want for Christmas Is You. The best-selling Christmas ringtone ever.
Really?
In the States. Yeah. This, I mean, for me, forget your other achievements. Bang, that's it.
It's a
that's
stone
the pinnacle.
groove. I love that.
It's really good. The best-selling Christmas ringtone.
See, people don't even tell me these things. How am I supposed to know? I don't Google Mariah Carey facts.
I might. You should do.
In misery. No.
Could you imagine if you did?